Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small-town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hello, All Things Excellence fam. Today we are welcoming back my friend Andrea. She has been with us before about color and style, finding your specific colors that not only help you look really great in life, but for me personally, help really sync up your biz branding. And I cannot tell you that since then I have I constantly change I've changed what I'm wearing, even on recording these episodes. I think about my contrast level. I think about the colors, how it's making my best features pop. It's been a really good time.
I love that. Yeah.
I love it so much. So today she is back because we are going to talk about being an Enneagram 4. So welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
We already have gotten into some really good stuff. So I can't wait for all y'all to hear this. So we'll just start with, how did you find the Enneagram? How long have you known about the Enneagram? And let's talk about that mistyping journey of yours.
Yeah, for real. You know, Chelsea, I'm not exactly sure when I first heard about the Enneagram, but it was many years ago. I mean, in our previous world that we connected in from the start, I know I was introduced to it there. And I know I read a book by Suzanne Stabile and Ian Cron, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And The Road Back to You. So I read that book because I was told, don't take a test because the test is not gonna, serve you well, so to speak.
Okay, was it that? I bet. Okay, so I always tell people don't read that book. I hate that book because Ian, it's such kind of he's got, like, in my personal opinion, he's got a lot of broken pieces about his little fourness, and he really hates eights. He's got some mommy issues. So was it from the book that you felt like you were a 3?
Yeah.
I bet it's because you did not resonate with his 4 message because it was very low vibration, in my personal opinion. You can feel it. Like, I didn't like the book. I bet that's what it was.
I mean, could be. Yeah. I remember thinking that I could be a 4, but there was such negative connotation around the 4.
Yes.
In my opinion, in that book, that I was just like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that's where I'm at, right? Because we always want to see the best in us, right?
I read that book, knew that my sister-in-law was a 4, and it kind of made me feel, oh my gosh, our relationship is doomed. This is not good. This is so extreme. Right. To which now I've come to learn, becoming certified and doing all the things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love 4s. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
They're deep. Let's go there.
They're deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
on 4s, it really doesn't, in my opinion.
Okay. Interesting. Like, I've never heard that perspective. So, but that is where I sort of determined, learned about Enneagram
Mhm.
and kind of dug into it and, figured out that I thought it was a 3. So I've been a 3 for
I think
like,
5 or 6 years. I bet you read it back in like 2019. It was a pretty hot
oh, I bet it's longer than that.
because it was
I put it
2018, 2019 when that book might have come out in 2018-ish.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then that's probably it.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
very
like
fitting.
it's been a while, I know
Yeah.
that. And so, yeah, so I went through that and really sort of, put on this threeness.
Mhm.
But I will honestly say that never felt fully right.
Yeah.
Like it just there was a lot of things that did not resonate with me about a 3.
Yeah. What
And
what was that? 'Cause was it almost like the frequency of who you really are and what it was telling you, what it was who it was telling you you are? Is it like the frequencies were grinding almost? Like they just
yeah.
weren't quite meshing?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Like
What popped up for you?
I think the thing that, like if 3 will sort of do anything to they're such a
Mhm.
chameleon,
Mhm.
and they'll do anything to like
Look
um
full.
look good or look a certain way in a certain situation. I'm like, that's not who I am.
I don't see that in
And
you
so
at all.
well, good. I didn't want that to be me. Not that there's anything wrong with
No.
threes. I know some really incredible threes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that just didn't resonate with me at all. So there was a grind. There was like this, like there's a lot about this threeness that I can embrace, but like the core of it just didn't feel right
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
So
The core need to be successful, whatever. So then, long story short, you come out to Arizona. When was that? When did you come out here?
last fall, last October.
It was really only about 6, 7 months ago.
Yeah.
So you're out here and you're sitting around a campfire. Somebody suggests you might be a 4. We go on a hike the next day. We were talking
Yeah.
about it via text even before you came back up to around
Yeah.
here because you were in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. And we're on this hike. I actually remember exactly the place we were on the trail when you stopped dead in your tracks and go, I am so a 4. Like I
Mhm.
remember, I can see you and
I can see it too.
the backdrop because it sat in you so deep.
So deep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just like yeah.
You asked me a question. Do you remember what question you asked me?
No, what did I ask? Did I ask you about the Skittles? What did I ask you?
No, it wasn't the Skittles. It was you said fours never feel fully comfortable in their own
Oh
skin.
yeah. There so
And I
the
was
deadly sin and the deadly sin of a 4 is envy, that you wish you could feel as comfortable in your skin as it seems
yes.
to you that everyone else does.
Yes.
And that you were
And
like,
I was like,
yeah.
you have just read my soul.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, Chelsea, we've been friends for a minute, but like,
Yeah.
how in the world do you know that? Like, nobody knows that,
Yeah.
right?
That is you're
And
like you read the deepest parts of my soul that other people don't get to read.
yes, yes, like I
Mhm.
only show that to certain people, right? And so when that hit, I was like, oh, I absolutely am a 4. Absolutely am a 4.
Okay, so it was that statement, which you guys, I love the reason I love the Enneagram the most. I found the Enneagram at a time when I'd found it and I was doing it and reading it and learning about myself. But then there came a time where my sister-in-law and I was not good. 4 and an 8, both of us stressed. It was not good. Got really ugly. And then I was like, when I say I was diligently praying, like that's an understatement that I was diligently praying for God to just
Yeah.
bring something to me that would help me understand how to be better for her. And at the
Sure.
podcast, I was working at Target. Did you know? I don't even shop at
No.
Target anymore. I haven't shopped at Target in years, but I was working in the back at Target, waiting to move to Arizona because I was like, I'm not working my other business one more day in Dallas. Like, I'm going to work at Target. I was working 80 hours a week
Oh, yeah.
on
I didn't
my
know that.
holiday. It was so fun. It was like 11 at night. I'm in the back room all by myself listening to a podcast, and I hear Suzanne say on this podcast, I think there's a lot of broken relationships in families that could be healed by using the Enneagram.
Mm.
I just started bawling
Agreed.
because we were
I bet.
extreme odds. We hadn't talked in 6 months. My brother was like, "This is up
Mm.
to you. You have all the tools. You have to fix this." Which I think some people think like, "Oh, that was rude." I'm like, "No, that was like he's wrong. He's not wrong. He's correct.
Hmm.
So right." I'm
Hmm.
also 5 years older than her. And
It's making you emotional right now.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And our dad's sister has always been so critical and cruel to our mom. And
Mm.
he just was trying to stand up he was standing up for his wife in the way that our dad never stood up for our mom because he's such a
Mm.
nine. And
Yeah.
I had so much respect for that. And so when I heard that, it did break my heart because, her and I, neither one of us have like a real sister. Our other sister-in-law has an actual sister. And so
Okay.
we are each other's only sister and we've known
Yeah.
each other our whole life. And I wanted nothing more than to be the best for her, but I just felt like everything I did was wrong. Everything I did
Sure.
made it worse. And I just bawled and I just sent her a message and said, "I just want you to know I'm trying so hard. But I
Yeah.
think I just keep making it worse and missing the mark. But I love you and I'm always going to keep trying?" And that was everything for us. And then just
I bet.
I learned that specific piece though, that as an eight, I just walk into the room. I mean, I was born confident. I was born with high self-assurance. I love being an eight.
Yeah.
I love being myself. But then to learn that y'all were born so the opposite. I
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of compassion that I have for y'all,
Hmm.
can't imagine,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Being married to an eight, I see that in him.
Bet you do.
And I'm like, what is that?
I don't
Right?
know.
Like, and it's so I'm
Uh,
so drawn to it. It's
Yeah,
probably why we're friends, Chelsea.
yeah,
Like, I'm drawn to what I see in eights of this just
yeah,
innate, like,
yeah,
this is who I am.
yeah.
And
It is an eight.
and so it is. It's totally innate for my husband.
Mhm,
And I see its innateness in you as well.
mhm, mhm.
And so
It's
yeah,
like
I think
we really don't care what other people think. It's probably
no,
really to a fault most times,
like
but yeah,
not at all.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
well, and I think going back to my mistyping, like threes really care about what people think. And
Hmm.
I think that's why I got mistyped
I
because I
see.
do care about what people think. Um, but not in the same way as it's described in a three. Um, and I've gotten so much better about this as I've,
Mhm.
gotten older and matured and all of this. Like I care less today than I used to care.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, I don't carry that
Right.
burden as heavy as I used to
Just
because
figuring out
I do have self assurance pretty high
yeah.
also.
Did figuring
But
out you were a 4 help you kind of like nip the final pieces of that in the bud a little bit? Just knowing,
yeah,
oh, I think as a 4, knowing like, oh, I was born feeling like things were missing. I was born feeling envious of others' skin. I was born, so because
yeah,
they are the authentic, creative, expressive, deep, temperamental people, and you fear being inadequate, emotionally cut off, mundane, and abandoned.
yeah,
Plain. You fear being plain and ordinary.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And just overlooked, I think. Like overlooked and misunderstood.
Yeah. They do say, again, 4s and 8s are the most misunderstood. I think 4s deep emotions are
Yeah.
misunderstood, and 8s anger is misunderstood.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So our household is interesting because I'm married to an eight.
Yes. I love your husband. He's so fun to talk to because I think if people listen to 2 conversations between 2 eights, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so abrasive." And to us, it's so comforting because you're not having to like wrap what you're saying in blankets. You can just
Yeah.
say it as it flows out of your body, and
It's so
oh
funny.
god, it feels so good.
I'm sorry I interrupted
Oh,
you. It's so funny, like when he'll pop in, like we'll be on a video call and he'll pop in and the two of you start talking and I'm just like, I guess we're done here, Chelsea. John and Chelsea just chatting away. And just sharing their intensity with each other. And I'm like, I'll just step aside. You guys can
Can you
talk for a
feel
minute.
that? Actually, can you
Oh,
as a because
major.
at fours have this. So this was something else I didn't understand about fours, and what caused this explosion with my sister-in-law was my mom and I were clear on the other side of my mom's studio. So it's this large room that's probably 30 feet across. Amber's clear on one side and we're clear on the other. And my mom brings in this cake and it had fallen inside of itself. It was so soft. The cake literally collapsed inside of itself, the multiple
Okay.
layers. And I go, and my mom goes, "Oh no." Well, we had this immediate, like, we weren't loud. We literally like gas. And my mom goes, "Oh
Right.
no." And she starts like crying because we're like, "Oh my gosh, like seriously, this is so
Sure.
sad." And the baby shower starts in 2 hours. And
Okay.
Amber explodes across the room, but she can't even see in the box. So she doesn't even know what just happened.
Okay.
And it was the weirdest, what is going on? But now knowing what I know about fours, how y'all are like absorbers and magnifiers of the energy around you, the emotions,
Mm,
but you explode them times 10.
mm,
Because you
interesting.
feel them so deeply, right? And you experience emotions like tossing a bag of Skittles in your mouth at one time. You're feeling all the feels of all the different types of emotions on the emotional wheel all at one time, and
Mm-hmm.
exploding them out. Because if you haven't learned how to regulate yet and
Mm-hmm.
go to sift and sort the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that emotional intensity, I think, that causes you to feel very misunderstood.
Probably. Yeah.
You know,
I'm so new at this four thing that
mhm.
that feels a little foreign to me.
I think
But I
if you
also
think
have
about
I have a
20-year-old,
defined emotional center.
yeah,
So I don't know if that makes any difference here. Um,
yeah, in human design, your
maybe
emotional
not.
image defined. I think you have to think about 20-year-old Andrea
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
she married. How old were you and John when you started dating?
Um, interestingly, 30 years ago today was our first
Oh
date.
my gosh, happy anniversary. Okay.
So I was 18.
Yeah. Yeah, happy date
Yeah.
anniversary. So think about before you partnered yourself for life with an Enneagram 8, what your emotions might have been like then. Because the childhood wounding message of a 4 is you are too much.
Yeah.
And you may or may not have, it depends on your parents. I don't feel like my sister-in-law feels like her emotions are too much. I feel like she has really good parents and really good grandparents that have always
Yeah.
embraced that part of her.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but not everybody gets that, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm sure, I clearly was a different version of myself then than I am now. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Um, but I don't really feel like there's a lot of, I didn't get a lot of pushback necessarily on my emotions, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I've always felt misunderstood,
Yeah.
if
Like,
that makes sense.
because I had asked you before we hit record about, if you were, I try and help people feel like they're speaking to somebody beyond me, especially through these Enneagram things. Because
Yeah.
like a 4 is speaking to an 8. Okay. And I was like, pretend that you, Andrea, today are speaking to 20-year-old Andrea, the Enneagram 4. What would you want her
Yeah.
to know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want her to know you're going to be misunderstood.
Mm.
And it's okay. It's okay for not everyone to understand fully the way I show up in the world and how deeply I care
Yeah.
and the motive behind my care, I guess. Because
Mhm.
that's where the misunderstanding has come.
Yeah.
My motive has been sort of like feels like it's been twisted, right?
Yeah.
There's a poem by Mother Teresa that says, I have it on my wall actually. Um, People will misunderstand you. Basically, forgive them anyway. Let me see if I can pull it up
Because when you
because
feel like when
it's
you
really
talk
good.
about that, when you talk about feeling misunderstood, your motive
Yeah.
being misunderstood, what what does that mean? Like your motives, why you have the depth that you have, why you have the emotions that you have, why
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. I
do you
think
have
it just
a life
means,
do you have a life example that would be okay to share?
um, golly, I can't think of anything at the top of my head.
Yeah. So you and your husband
Um,
use the Enneagram a lot in your marriage,
yeah, we do.
right? What was that
Yeah.
like for him learning that you are a four? What was most shocking for both of you to go, oh my gosh, she is a four, absolutely, and this is who fours are?
Um, I think I would say the most shocking thing is that um, we thought that I was a three for so long, and there was this desire for success and like that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And when I learned that I was a four, it really shifted everything because my deep level of understanding people and relationships and my emotion around that
Yeah.
and the warmth that I bring to friendships and our marriage and all of that, it all came into clarity.
Yeah. Your emotional
Um,
the need for you
yeah.
to have emotional depth in your career, in your relationships, not surface level because you're trying to get to
No.
success.
I mean, probably the worst thing in the world to me is
Yeah.
talking about the weather and small talk. Like I if that's what we're going to talk about, I don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I
As an eight,
like
I'm here
it's
for you with that. I love going to the depths of the ocean.
yeah, like
I,
I want to get into the real meat and potatoes of things because it's meaningful. I small talk is like the hardest thing in the world for me to do.
this is,
Like I want to talk about real stuff that matters.
do you feel like there are certain types that I struggle with, and it's not me bad, me better, them better. It's not about that. It's about if you can't go to the deepest depths of the ocean with me, I'm just kind of bored.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like this surface level thing and there's no connecting point for me.
Yeah.
I can't I can't understand you well because I don't know you. You've given me nothing to understand about you.
Yeah. And that's your need. And not everyone's like that, right? As fours and eights,
Right.
we love to go. We're like, let's explore the darkest depths of the ocean. But
Yeah.
other types don't need that, which I think
No.
is why you and John really enjoy each other as spouses.
Yeah.
We've been together 30
Yeah.
years today.
But I think it also contributes to the misunderstanding of me.
Absolutely. I think people think that well, again, that I've said this a million times on here, that when I was little, my uncle would always say to make little girls ask questions. And my grandparents were very critical about the amount of questions I would ask. And my parents would always say, they were like, you need to teach her that she needs to be quiet. They always
Mm.
thought like she's being nosy and interested. And my parents
Right.
were like, no, she is so curious. It was really my
Mhm.
mom's mom. My dad's mom loves how curious I was. Yeah.
Right.
How curious I am. She's still alive. Um, so I think, you know what I mean? I think that's a
Yeah.
thing, right? Being misunderstood, like your intention, your motive
Yes.
is being misunderstood,
Yes.
right? You're not,
Yeah, and that's why I love this poem so much because it talks
mm,
about like people are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered, but forgive them anyway. Um, you if you're successful, you will win false friends, and some true friends succeed anyway. It's just like it's like your motivation is what it is. Like just do and be who you are
and that was like Mother
because
Teresa.
yeah,
What's it
it's
called?
such a good poem. Um, if you are kind, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway.
Yeah.
And it has all these things. And at the end, it says, for you see, in the end, it was never, it was between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. That's the end of it. And so this poem is all about like the motivation behind what you do in this world and how people can misunderstand it. And it resonates with me so deeply because I worried for so long about being misunderstood and yet feeling on the inside like my motive was like pure and good, like for the like and it really points you back to like it wasn't between you and them, it's between you and God anyway. And
Yeah.
so that poem has really resonated with me as a four because the feeling of being misunderstood has been strong for me most of my life. But now knowing this and knowing that's just the way fours feel, it's let me put it aside for a second, right? It's let me like set it over there and like this is the experience of most fours, and it doesn't really matter what people think or how um yeah, what they think, because I'm never going to be in control of how people perceive me or my motivations or anything like that. It's between me and God. And I always say this, I'm like, as long as I can lay my head on the pillow at night and know that I did what I did with the right intentions and the right motivations, and I'm good with him, then that's all I can worry about. It's between me and him. It's not between me and them anyway. So
Exactly.
that's why the
So,
poem hangs on my wall.
so on that note, we like to talk about on this NES Spring series about common conflict activators, like things that really get you triggered on it, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of those things, so in there, it's like not being seen as unique, special, or different, and not being valued for your unique contributions or viewpoints. It is that, like
Yeah.
being misunderstood,
Yeah, for
not,
sure.
you feel that.
Yeah. hmm Very much so. Um, yeah, I think in my previous sort of career,
Yeah.
where I was really going after some big goals and all of those things,
Mhm.
and then not recognized for the contribution that that I could make to the conversation or to anything that was happening in that world that I lived in, because I hadn't achieved a certain level or anything like that. That felt very that was hard for me to not be seen.
And here's, I think I just realized the difference between a 4 and an 8. I mean, I know there's a lot of differences. Your intensity is more emotional, ours is more like gut angry.
Sure.
But I think here's the difference. If an 8 is not being valued for their unique contribution,
Yeah.
we will say F you and we'll shove ourselves in.
Yeah.
We will make space for ourselves to be seen and heard. People
hmm
might not necessarily love it. I'm not saying it was right. Okay. I'm saying we'll do it though. Whereas
I'll
a
just I'll
four
just go.
will, like,
I'll
I'll never,
withdraw.
yeah, like you'll actually literally like close up shop. Like I'll never forget saying when all my both of my siblings and their wives were down visiting, and I was like, "Hey, going to Canton. Who wants to go?" Walked out of the room. Baby brother came to me. You broke Amber. What did you broke her? And I was like, "What?" Like she was visibly emotionally upset, and I was like, "I literally don't even know what I did." Well, now going back to that, it was one of the greatest learning lessons for me as a 4, because if somebody said in the room, "I'm going to Canton to this huge festival thingy, who wants to go?" I'd be like, "I don't want to go to that." Or I'd be like, "I'm there. What time do I need to be in the car? When are we backing out?" Well, for her as a 4, I didn't understand in that moment that she wanted to be seen as, special, unique, be valued. And part of valuing her is saying, "Amber, I want you to come." Like, I don't know if you want to
Sure.
come. I'm not saying come if you don't want to come, but like, I would love for you to come. Like
Sure.
y'all do want to be invited in.
Yeah, you do want to be invited in. I do think um
You know what I mean?
yeah,
You're going to withdraw. You're not going to,
I'm not going to force my way into that and be like,
yeah,
"Well, pick me, pick me."
yeah.
Like I'm going to just take a step back if I don't feel like I'm, you know, wanted to be in
If
that
you don't feel like
space.
you're okay, and I should go deeper on this. I knew that this festival thingy, my other sister-in-law would just die for.
Okay.
And we had just come back from going to Waco because my other sister-in-law was like, "I want to go to Waco."
Sure.
So my other sister-in-law had really spoken up about the things she
Yeah.
wanted to do and the two things she wanted to see and what all those things. Whereas I didn't understand that the opposite, like the 4, needed to be invited in a little bit more,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
asked. I didn't get that. So definitely failed that day.
Well, hey, you're owning it. It's all good. Like,
Failed
I'm
so
sure your
hard.
sister-in-law has appreciated the fact that you could be like, I didn't do that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could write a book of the sister-in-law of a four, let me tell you all the ways that I messed up. You know, I think and again, I think with that people go like, "Oh, well, that's her own life to figure out." I don't think so necessarily. I am the one with all the tools. I am the one who's been surrounded by all the active growth. I am 5 years older than her.
Yeah. So you feel a responsibility to like get it right for her.
Yeah, I mean, she was
And
like
like
that specific incident, she was probably 27 years old,
sure. Yeah.
and I was not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not. And I was already flying into Arizona. I was already in masterminds with 50 to 60-year-old women. I was flying to Arizona once a month, being immersed in like deep growth healing programs with John
Right.
Townsend. I mean, we were in very different spaces.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
do think, yeah, right?
Yeah. I think fours at their worst will really just be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Because I'm not going to force my way into it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be like, let me in.
Do
I'll just
you
withdraw.
say you don't innately feel secure in a relationship?
You asked, I don't innately feel secure in a relationship. Is that what you said?
Mhm.
I don't know that I would agree with that.
Do you innately feel secure in relationships?
Um, I think with random people, no, but like in my core group, yes, very
Well,
much
that's what
so.
I mean. Like, do you right away innately feel secure in relationships, or do the waters have to be warmed a little bit for you to feel like you're secure in a
Probably. Yeah,
relationship?
I would say probably. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of like getting into relationships with people, but
Not
I'm
like,
not going to like bare my soul to people
yeah, that's
that
what
I
I mean.
haven't built some like
Yeah.
commonalities or credibility with, that kind of thing.
I mean, like a year ago, do you feel like you could have went to the deepest depths of the ocean with me a year ago?
Probably no. I would have
Years
been
ago.
testing the waters. I mean I think I did, right? Like I mean
Mhm.
I think we were in relationship, but I was sort of figuring you out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
I think there's a season for me in relationships where I'm like I need to understand this person before
Mhm.
I can like bare my soul to them
Yeah.
and go to the depths and know that I'm safe in the depths with this person.
That's what I mean. Knowing that you are safe in the depths of that person and that their intention actually is always good.
For
Because I
sure.
think
That takes
now
time.
that's what I mean. So I do think with Amber, I have had to dig myself out of a deep hole with her
Sure.
to because I think we met so young. We know each other all our lives, right? So I did everything wrong. As someone who was 5 years older than her, I did everything wrong first. So then I was in this deep, deep hole of, she probably felt like I didn't like her.
Sure.
She can't trust me. I'm just kind of crass. And so I think I had to dig myself out of that hole. So now I feel like I've worked so diligently to make her realize, like, I am so for us.
Yeah.
We are so important to me. You and
Yeah.
me in relationship is so important that I feel like the lens that she experiences me through is
Yeah.
probably different. Like, she now knows,
Yeah.
oh, her intention is good. I can trust
Mhm.
her.
Yes, for sure.
But do you feel like I do think it's maybe potentially a little harder with a four because you feel everything so deeply.
Maybe.
Things don't hit water off a duck's back as easily with y'all.
No. Mm-mm.
That's kind of what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I have to just, yeah, I have to experience you in a authentic, what I believe is a authentic way
Mhm.
for me to trust you.
Yeah. Like now you know that my intention always good.
Yeah.
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 Let's say
Like
2 years ago, you would have been like, she's kind of mean.
I don't know that I would have said mean. I just didn't know. Like I
Okay.
just didn't know.
Yeah.
I literally just observed you from afar, but I didn't really have any like this conversation with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would have said she's mean. I think I would have just said you were bold, you
Mm.
were big in the
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
right?
For sure. For sure.
But I live with an eight,
Yeah.
so
It's
I
just that
think I.
you'll pick up and sense people at a greater magnitude than most people do.
Oh yeah,
That's kind of
like
your
yes,
your spidey sense is like extra, extra strong as a four.
yes.
You just feel
And
what people are feeling.
before they feel it. most of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I will tell you I can tell you what John is feeling before John understands what he's feeling.
Absolutely. Y'all are
Easy.
wildly empathic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with I don't care about your defined emotional center with the human design stuff. You are so empathic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
But I am able to separate what is my emotion and what is their emotion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It might have been last week. Time is flying so fast right now. I think it was last week. There was just something really super hard I was going through in my life. I was sad. I was grieving a relation. I was grieving how a relationship looked.
Yep.
Because their position changed, and I was so in my Enneagram 5 shock that I was going in and out of I was going in and out of like really deeply feeling it in my secure 2 self and into my 5 resource stress self of like, how do I reestablish my safety and security within this part of my career? What do I do? Who do I talk to?
Right.
So you were going, you haven't cried this one time. And I'm like, well, I think I cried all day yesterday.
Yeah.
And now because I was so sad in the moment of going, oh my gosh, I can't believe like this person isn't going to be like this person to me anymore.
Sure.
Because just the title changed. And now I'm freaking out. But you knew that. I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm freaking out. I think I'm stressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're the one who pointed that out. I was like, yeah, I think I'm just freaking out. From sad to freaking out.
Sad freaking out.
Sad to freaking out. So another conflict activator, being asked to do something contrary to who you are and your values.
Yeah. That's a huge one for me. Like,
yeah.
I cannot do it, Chelsea. Like,
yeah.
And that's how I think I knew I wasn't a 3.
Okay. Here's a difference between a 3 and a 4. A 3 is like, okay. I know this is bending the rule and these are my like life rules, but is it really going to matter? It'll be okay.
I can't do that.
Right?
No way.
Is belief really high in your strengths finder from Clifton Strengths?
Number 1.
Number 1, shut up. Get out of here. Nah. Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So was my mom's.
Yeah.
No way.
Number 1.
Number 1. Mine's like number 3. I'm there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is impossible for me to do. Can't do it. And that's what was so disorientating about being a 3. Like I was like, this part is not me. I don't compromise my values and my beliefs to like gain a position or look successful. I just not who I am.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
The other one is anything that evokes their struggle with envy.
Yeah.
I can see you processing. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Are there things that evoke your struggle with envy anymore at this point? Like, do things come up for you still?
Envy is such an interesting term to use. I don't know that I don't know that I see it as envy. And this is probably just me being new as a 4, right? Like, I think there's a better word than envy in my mind. I don't know what it is.
I think it pings an insecurity. That's how I see it with Amber more, is I think it pings an insecurity where you see what someone has and it pings this insecurity that you don't have it and that there's something missing, there's something broken, there's something wrong.
Yeah, and I don't resonate with that a ton.
But I think with an 8, you've been dating and married to an 8 for 30 years.
Right. I don't like covet what other people have. I don't see somebody else's success as a lack of my own.
I don't even think it's like that. I think it's more like, so right now Amber is reading the books Worthy. I should probably tell her before this comes out, like, hi, I talked about you a lot. Worthy, so she's reading like Worthy by Jamie.
Yeah, I've read it.
Right. Okay, so I feel like that book is a good 4 book because it's going, you're not missing anything. You deserve to walk into this space.
Yeah. Here's what I would say about that book.
Yeah.
I read the book right when it came out.
Yep.
And I was kind of like,
yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
I think that book would have been so important to me when I was 32.
That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Because you are in your later 40s, and so you are such and you've worked so hard on yourself. You have
Yeah.
done the really hard,
Yeah.
passive growth beyond reading the books and listening to the podcasts.
Yeah.
You have done the active growth where you are working with someone, revealing
Yeah.
the blind spots,
Yeah.
having someone helps, So I think you do have to go back when you think of the
Mm-hmm.
envy that a four might deal
Yeah.
with, that something that evokes their envy. I want you to think of 20 to 30-year-old Andrea.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I think back then I would have, and see, remember, I
Mhm.
didn't, I didn't know I wasn't that age when I knew about Enneagram probably, but,
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that awareness.
Mhm.
And
No.
then
I
even when
mean,
I did have some awareness, I thought it was a 3 at those younger years. Right.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't frame any of this the right way at those years. But when I look back now,
Mhm.
I can look at what was in that book and apply it to that age and
Mhm.
go, that would have been super helpful for me back then.
Because even we'll just even bring this up. Like think about when you were 35 years old and you watched other people get a pink Cadillac. Like, how did you really truly feel about that? I know I
Sure.
haven't had one yet. Like, what did that evoke in you? What was that emotion?
The emotion was I'm doing the work and
Yeah.
it's not coming together for me.
Yeah.
So like, where's the mismatch?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand why it worked for some and not for others.
And
And
was
that
there a
was,
little bit of like, why can't I figure it out?
yeah,
Was there ever a,
yes.
what don't I have that they have that they can get it?
I mean, maybe. I don't know that I framed it that way in my head. I just thought, yeah, the lack was in me,
Yeah.
right? I must not be doing something right.
Mhm.
There's a different way that they're going about it that I could go about it.
Mhm.
So I need to like fix me.
Mhm.
It was never an external reason. It was always an internal reason as to why I didn't get to where I thought
Internal, like you looked inside of yourself and thought, why can't I get there?
yeah, something's
And that
broken
is
about me.
that anything that evokes that struggle with envy, because envy is all internal.
Yeah. Yes.
Why not me?
That makes sense to me for
Why
sure.
envy says this is what I think envy says. Envy says, well, why not me? Like, why can't I?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and an eight goes, if they can, I absolutely can. And
Yeah.
I think a four in their lower vibrational frequency before the
Mm-hmm.
healing work goes, well, why not me? Like, why can't I have that? Why can't I be included? Why wasn't I invited?
So it's not that. It's
No.
why can't I figure it out?
Why can't I figure it out?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
not like I feel sorry for myself sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
It's
think
a
that
like
the lowest frequency it could be though? If you're down in shame,
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
if you're vibrating at the frequency of shame, do you think that it could be why can't I figure it out? Why not?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Interesting.
Yeah.
So how on kind of on that note, when things like that happen, obviously you probably feel emotional intensity. How do you work through those moments of emotional intensity or kind of feeling stuck in that moment, feeling stuck in those feelings?
So this has been a new thing, like big time, because I never really saw myself as this emotional person. Like
Yeah.
even as a 3, I never really saw myself as
Yeah.
this certainly not an emotionally unstable person. That's never been the way I saw myself in any way. But I've always known I feel things and I feel them pretty deeply. But now knowing I'm a 4 and this is our experience as a 4, like, yeah, you do feel things deeply
Yeah.
and you do have a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
I think I've allowed that. I think
Yeah.
my conditioning before has just been emotions are messy, so don't show up with those,
Yeah.
sort of thing, right?
You
And then
realize
being
it.
married to an 8, right?
Yeah,
Like
I know.
he needs me to be, emotionally stable, right?
Yeah.
And so knowing that that's the experience of a 4, it's actually what got me to this place of really understanding that I was a 4. It was the emotion that I was like bringing to the table in regards to a situation that someone was like, 3s don't do that. 4s
No,
do that.
they do not. They do not.
And
They
I
are
was
the
like, well, then I got to be a 4 because this is the only way I would show up in this situation.
There you go.
And so,
Do you feel like it was a new level of permission to have all the levels of feels?
yeah,
Ugh,
for real. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I really,
Because it was coming home to yourself. Like for you, it was like it was really coming
oh,
home to yourself.
for sure. There's no question about it.
Mhm.
I think the way I would tell you I handle it today
Yeah.
is I have to like journal. I have to like write it
Mhm.
out. And when I'm really in the feels of something,
Mhm.
I never did this before, ever. It wasn't until I learned that I was a 4.
Stop it.
And I needed to process through things.
Yeah.
And I think I recognized that I think I always wanted to go to John and like process with him. And I
Mhm.
think me understanding that like my level of
Mhm.
um, feelings and emotions around certain things is just like off the charts for him. He's just like, we've talked about it once. I'm going to need you to be okay with this sort of thing. And he's a great man. So don't like come for him.
Still a dude.
Yeah, he's a dude and he's, he's an 8 and he's pretty logical and,
Mhm.
and so my level of emotion in regards to it, and this really shows up in parenting for me when people come for my kids, right? Which is what this situation was about. I really had to go to journaling and I have to like get it out on paper and say all the things I would really love to say
Yeah.
that I
So you
probably
would
would
say
never say. I would never go to this person and say all these things,
things.
right? But I like
So
have to get them out of my brain and
yeah.
like onto paper and like basically out in the world, right?
So this is your best
That
bet.
letter's never going to anybody. It's never going to be sent, but I have to get it out of myself in order to deal with it.
So what advice would you give people who have 4s in their life?
It's a great question.
Mhm.
I think the advice I would give is like give them space to be who they are.
Yeah.
Give them space. They're not trying to um take up more space. They're not trying like these emotions are real for them and they need to like process them and get them out into the world because
Yeah.
they don't just go away. Like they're sort of brewing in them, and the misunderstanding of 4s I think is the thing I would really love to speak to right now because I think there's a lot of people that show up in their emotion and it's not always a bad thing. Like the empathy that a 4 can bring to the table I think can do a lot of good in the world.
This is what I was going to say as somebody who struggled with a 4 and now I've made it my life's mission the last 8 years to do so well. I would say to I would say to Chelsea 8 years ago. I would say this to myself. Your inability to handle her emotions is not her problem.
Yeah.
That's yours.
Yeah.
Because it was so bad before I went through a lot of like the really deep, intense work where I was in like intensive healing programs, healing my own inner child whose emotions had been amputated. The the final thing is what if you could give one last thing to 4s, what permission would you want to give to your fellow Enneagram 4s?
I think the permission I'd want to give them is to just allow themselves to be.
Mm.
Like to just be where their feet are and allow yourself to feel what you feel and not like criticize yourself for being the emotional creature that you are, because there's so much good that can come from recognizing the emotion of things and what you bring to the world, and your compassion and your warmth and your intentionality and your creativity that you offer to the world is such a blessing. And don't hide it. Like don't squash it because you're misunderstood, right? Like allow the misunderstanding and read the poem from Mother Teresa. Hang it on your wall because truly that is, I think it's a Four's prayer, honestly, because it's not between you and them, it's between you and God anyway. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
I think the beauty and depth of what y'all bring to a situation is worth the risk of being misunderstood and realizing that's not your problem, it's theirs.
Yeah. And you're never going to be able to control that. Like you are not in control of how other people receive you or perceive you. And so you're trying to control something that's uncontrollable. And so just bring your beauty to the world and allow people to misunderstand you. And at the end of the day, when you're right with God, then you can sleep at night, and the rest of it can just fall by the wayside.
Yeah. It's worth the risk.
Yeah.
It's absolutely worth the risk. All right, All Things Excellence fam. What a beautiful episode. What a beautiful episode. Andrea, thank you for coming back. Thank you for blessing us with everything all about fours today. Y'all stay tuned. Next week, we will meet our Enneagram 5, who was also mistyped as an Enneagram 3 for a really long time, just like Andrea. Wow. And I'm just going to tell y'all, it's because we live in an Enneagram 3 country. I think it's very easy to mistype as a 3, which is why I encourage you, again, chelseadbc.com/Enneagram, the secret listener only link where you can schedule your typing session to get to the bottom of what type are you really. Thank you again, everyone, for listening. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you. And my intro clarity call is a great place to start, because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.